Hello, boys and girls. My name is Mrs. Wade. Today, we will be talking about the revision process of writing. So make sure you have your writing from the last lesson available. I am going to show you how to revise your writing by modeling the revision process with some of my own writing. I wrote a paragraph on my favorite season, winter. One of my big ideas was snow activities. For my first big idea, I wrote, first of all, snow activities are great to do in the chilly winter. A detail I used to tell my reader more about snow activities was, I like to ski. Remember, our details are sentences that make our writing more interesting to read. Is I like to ski an interesting sentence? I don't really think so. How could I come up with a more interesting sentence? Pause the video and think about how you could come up with a more interesting sentence than I like to read. I have an idea. There, I love to ski. Is that better? Pause the video and think about whether you think this sentence actually got any better because I changed one word. Let's talk more about what revision is before we decide if I actually revised my writing or not. When we revise our writing, we want to look for ways to paint a picture for our reader. Revision is creating a picture in the reader's mind, not just changing a word, not just changing the word like to the word love. That's not revision. Does I love to ski paint a picture in your mind? Can you visualize me skiing? So what can I do to revise my writing to make it paint a picture in your head? One thing we can do is think about the questions the reader may have. Good writers put themselves in the place of the reader, so our writing is clear. By asking questions, we as writers can know what to revise to make our own writing more complete and more interesting. Just like you do in reading, we want to ask questions using those question words we learned about. So, what questions do you have about my winter writing so far? Pause the video and think about 3 questions that you have. Here are a few questions I came up with. Where do you love to ski? What do you see when you ski? What is it like to ski? What is your favorite part about skiing? Who skis with you? When is a good time to ski? Why do you ski? How do you ski? Why do you love to ski? Some sensory questions, or questions that dig into our 5 senses that I came up with, are these. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you taste? Maybe you taste something. Now, I came up with a lot of questions, and I'm sure you had more for me. While it is possible to answer all of them, it's probably best to just focus on a few that really focus on our senses. Our senses help paint that picture for us, because we don't want our writing to get too long. Part of today's assignment will be done now. We will finish the assignment at the end of the video. When I am done giving instruction, you will pause the video and follow these steps. Number 1, you will leave this video open and paused so that you know right where you are in today's lesson. Number 2, you will open your writer's notebook, which can be found in your Google Drive, and find your essay that you have been working on. Number 3, in class, students will partner up and take turns reading your big idea to your partner while your partner writes questions they have, and then you'll switch roles. Virtual students, you will find someone in your house that you can read your big ideas to and ask them to write questions for you. If you don't have anyone that can ask questions about your writing, you can read to a pet or a stuffed animal or even a salt shaker. It doesn't matter. Just imagine what questions they would have about your writing. Then rewind those are your 3 steps. If you need to hear those 3 steps again, go ahead and rewind the video a little bit to hear the steps again. Otherwise, go ahead and pause the video and begin your task and restart the video when you are done. I hope you were able to come up with a lot of questions for your partner, and your partner was able to come up with a lot of questions for you to help you revise your writing. Now remember, you might have had a lot of questions being asked about your writing, and if that's the case, you do not have to answer all of them in your writing. Just focus on the ones that help paint a picture. For my writing, I focused on, where do you like to ski? Now you may be thinking, I could just name a specific ski resort, but does that help paint a picture? Not really, especially if you've never been to that ski resort. You don't have any idea what it looks like. So there's no picture being painted in the reader's mind. So I came up with this. I love to ski on steep terrain where the moguls rise up like fluffy pillows. While this is a very good sentence, it still is not painting the full picture I want my reader to see when thinking about my favorite winter activity, skiing. So I answered a few more questions to give even more details about my writing. Here's what I came up with. As I continued to answer the questions my partner asked, I came up with this example. Now, as I read my writing, I want you to close your eyes. Seriously, close your eyes and listen. See if you can picture this in your mind. I love to ski on the steep mountain trails of the Rocky Mountains. The cold wind and snow swirl around me as I quickly race down the peak to beat my brother to the bottom. As I glide to the finish, I turn around and to gaze at the colossal mound staring back at me. It leaves me breathless as I realize what I have just accomplished. Did that picture something in your mind? I hope so. I have another example too. I came up with 2 examples. So keep your eyes closed as you listen to the second example and see if you can picture this in your mind. Gently skiing down the snow-covered trail, beautiful scenery surrounds me like a warm blanket. Trees are tipped with fluffy flurries from the early morning storm. Puffy clouds line the sky with the bright rays of the sun peeking out throughout the day. The trails are dotted with skiers enjoying nature with me on this lovely winter day. Did that paint a picture in your mind? I know it did for me, and it did for my partner, because they're nodding their head right now. So, it will now be your turn. So remember, revision is not just about changing one word. Revision is about creating a picture in the mind of the reader. To help make your writing more interesting, try using wow words, sensory details, or words that relate to your 5 senses. And the W questions, such as who, what, where, when, and why. And figurative language, like when I said, the beautiful scenery surrounds me like a warm blanket. So take those questions from your partner, or the questions that you created, imagining if you didn't actually have a partner, and begin revising your writing to paint a clear picture for your reader. Good luck, 3rd grade writers, and happy revising!